When a government borrows money, it has to pay back both interest and the original sum borrowed. Typically, a government starts paying interest on new debts the year after it borrows. However, when it chooses to repay the principal depends on the agreement with the lender in the case of a loan, or on the type of the bond it issues in the case of marketable debt. Usually, for bilateral and multilateral loans, the debt is amortizing, which means that the principal is repaid over time. Bonds, on the other hand, are typically bullet instruments. This means that the principal repayment is made in one go, at the point the bond redeems. Regardless of whether we are thinking about a loan or a bond, we can take a general approach to explaining how cash flows work. Let's start with a bullet instrument, as this is the simplest. If we have $100 of a 10-year debt on which we pay 5% interest, we can see the cash flows will look like this. We will pay $5 interest each year from years 1 to 10, and then repay $100 in year 10. We pay the same amount of interest each year, as the amount of debt outstanding is always $100, so we pay 5% on $100 each year. We can create an amortizing debt structure in many different ways. We might make equal installments on principal each year. In this example, we pay $10 on the principal each period. We can see that while the principal payments are steady each period, the amount of interest we pay reduces over time as the debt outstanding falls each period. The overall debt payment therefore falls over time. But what if we want to make the same overall debt payment each period? In this instance, we have what is called an annuity. Here, we are still paying 5% interest on the debt, but the cash flows have been structured so that we make the same overall debt payment each period. The share of principal and interest in each payment changes over time. The proportion of interest falls as more of the debt is paid off. We will introduce one more concept as we finalize our explanation. This is called the grace period. Say we want to amortize our principal over time, but don't want to do so straight away. The period in which we don't make principal payments is known as the grace period, but we still pay interest on the outstanding debt. As an example, we could agree that we won't repay principal for the first 5 years of the debt. In this case, we have a grace period of 5 years. We can apply this to both our examples. There are other ways of structuring cash flows on debt instruments, but this gives you an introduction to the basic cash flow construction of loans and bonds.